I raise a hallelujah with everything inside of me. I raise a hallelujah. I will watch the darkness flee. I raise a hallelujah in the middle of the mystery. I raise a hallelujah. Fear you lost your hold on me. I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar. Up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated, the King is alive. I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar. Up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated, the King is alive. Hello, Green Village Church of God and youth group. Yes, it is hard to believe, but Pastor Jeremy is on YouTube. You know how much I love media. But hey, this is actually one of those times when I'm very thankful that we have a way that we continue to communicate. Hopefully, these short videos and things that Matt and I will do can be a blessing to you and your family. For those of you watching and wondering if this is a sermon, this is not going to be a sermon. Matt will post his sermon here maybe Saturday evening or into Sunday. So I encourage you to just tune back in and check out what's going on with that. But I thought I'd just take a moment to say hello and maybe even sort of like a crash course and I'm trying to familiarize myself with this idea of shooting videos and being on the screen and everything like that. So I hope you'll bear with me and hopefully we can get some enjoyment out of this, but mostly, we just want to have the opportunity to continue to gather, to continue to encourage one another, lift one another up. I know that for some, there's been some opportunities to possibly do this kind of thing in a Sunday school format. I know Bill Kick has offered that, and if that's something you're interested in, that's something we'll continue to do. But I really think that this is a season. I keep coming back to that word. This is not going to be permanent, and we're thankful for that. But it is an interesting time we live in. I think it's something that has made a lot of us think lately, given us opportunity to pause and maybe even reflect a little bit on some things. If you noticed, I'm not stealing from Pastor Matt's thunder, but we actually have this. Oh, this is interesting. The camera does the opposite. We have this poster also that hangs in our house: "Be still and know that I am God." And that's an interesting verse in Psalm 46. Something that's kind of been revealed to me in reading the psalm and thinking about that is, when we hear that or when we see it, and we see it a lot of places. I've seen it on coffee mugs and T-shirts, and you see it, perhaps on a decal. It does give us that sense of peace, maybe a sense of calm, and sometimes, that idea of a calmness or a stillness or even a quietness can perhaps, it might maybe lead us to believe that there's a weakness involved with that. That when we're still and we slow things down and we come to that, maybe sort of that peaceful thing, it's like there's not a strength that's revealed in that. But for those of you that are familiar with the psalm, you'll know exactly where I'm headed with this. And I just want to read just a portion of it. In Psalm 46, of course, 46:10 is the one we see so quoted and so often. But listen to this, even just the introduction of the psalm. Psalm 46 verse 1 says, "God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth give way, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at the break of day. Nations are in an uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, and the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see the works of the Lord, the desolations he has brought to the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. I think about the power that's displayed in that psalm. Make no mistake, our God is a powerful God. And he spoke everything into existence. And I make reference to this a lot. The Apostle Paul in Romans talks about, the beauty of his creation, the divine quality in creation. In everything that is seen, we can see the glory of God. And that is so that man is without excuse. Do you ever think about that? That we really have no excuse in not considering God, our only one and true higher power. And, in times like these, that's an old hymn that's been on my mind lately. But, there might be things that cause your mind to wander. Who is in control? Government's making decisions about what we can and what we cannot do. We think about wanting to be safe and what can we do to protect our families and certainly protect the congregation. We're taking these steps. The reality is this, God is in control. Make no mistake about it. We can pause and remember who he is and what he has done for us. I hope that you know him personally. I hope you walk with him personally. But in today's day and age, as well as I, that we're completely distracted. It's so easy to be distracted. And my youth group guys, you guys know straight away, like the phones drive me crazy. I often will preach and speak against media and those types of things. The reason for that is because of the distraction of it all. Do we have an opportunity to slow down and be still and to know that he is God? Like take time to recognize him as Lord. And when we do that, it resets our souls. It takes us to a place of peace, of comfort and satisfaction, like knowing not only that God is in control, he's all powerful, but that he has saved us. Like we have eternity in our hearts. He not only planted that there to give us like the desire, like, hey, there's something more than this, but he actually revealed that to us through his son, Jesus Christ. I hope that that's the peace that you have, even in this time and everything that we're dealing with. For those of you that know me, I really enjoy hunting. It's a passion of mine. And that I've introduced my son, Luke, to hunting recently. We started when he was pretty young, when he was 7 years old. I took Luke out and he had his first sit with me in one of our blinds. And what happened during that hunt was Luke couldn't sit still. He was moving and fidgeting and like just leaning forward. I think we sat there for about a half an hour and Luke turned to me and said, is it over yet? I realized, Luke was too young. He was too immature to sit still long enough to enjoy the prospect of hunting, like the idea that we could harvest a whitetail or just even to enjoy creation and be out in Penn's Woods. It's something that, for those of you that can relate, it's something we love to do. But I realized something through all of that. Hunting is something that has caused me to be still. I'll even go as far to say and confess that it's something that forces me to be still. It might sound funny, but, to be still and quiet is an uncommon thing. And I think that's what adds to maybe our anxiety and the things that we're dealing with through a situation like this that our nation's facing today. that just the opportunity to be still. So I hope that that's an encouragement to you, because being forced to be still doesn't sound too great. But when we do take those moments and we just stop and we reflect on the Lord, all that He has done, all that He has created, all that He has made, He's given us these relationships, these opportunities to love one another, to be a part of this body. I'm excited about that. I can't wait to actually meet you all and see you all again. For me, obviously the screen only goes so far. So we're talking about that. Our leadership is talking about different ways to connect, different ways to take advantage of those opportunities. And just again, to encourage you, this is a season. This is a season of our lives. And my prayer for you is that this becomes a time that we can reflect on as a time of success. When we can look back and think about how it drew us closer to the Lord. Maybe it drew us closer to the things that matter, prioritize, figuring out what brings true happiness, what brings joy, what brings those satisfactions into our lives. And I'll just leave you with this. This was a book that was next to, for those of you that know, my grandfather passed away here at the end of last year, and I was very close with my grandfather. This book was next to his bed, and I would often go in there and share with him in a time of devotion, or just pray over him there towards the end. And today's devotion, of course, I knew when I saw this sitting here this morning, I thought, I bet today's devotion applies, and certainly it does. It says this: how can we know the right way? We must have regular communication with the Lord in His Word and in prayer. We must totally commit our lives to Him. We must hold nothing back. Then we must be obedient to the direction He reveals to us, even though we may not see more than the next step ahead. With Him as our guide, He will lead us in the way that will lead us to Himself. In Him, we will find complete satisfaction. For He satisfieth the longing of my soul, and filleth the hungry soul with goodness. That is Psalm 107:9. And, the words are true. I don't know what your situation is or what it might be that you're dealing with, in your own homes. But my encouragement to you is to be still. Spend time in the presence of the Lord. On Sunday, when we post our video and different things where we have opportunities to go to His Word, I would encourage you to either play a song maybe before that time with your family, spend some time in prayer together, and then listen to the sermon as a family. That's an opportunity to worship, and perhaps even another good thing to come from this. To bring worship into our homes. That's where it should be. We should be worshiping the Lord each and every day, everywhere that we go. So God bless you. I'll tune in again soon, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Goodbye.